was rumored to be taking his talents to Los Angeles. And though many believe that to be the LA Clippers, the LA Lakers are now being seriously considered by the Claw. According to friend of the show, Chris Broussard, the Kawhi to the Lakers rumblings are getting stronger and stronger. The reigning Finals MVP reportedly had a conversation with Magic Johnson about the future of the team. CC, you have been on this from the very beginning. What do you know? What is the latest?
What's the scoop, Chris?
Well, first of all, the Magic thing, Magic and Kawhi's group have communicated about them communicating. But they have not talked. Magic and Kawhi have not talked to each other.
So Magic's talked to either agent or uncle or somebody, but not with Kawhi directly.
No. And they've talked about talking, but that has not happened yet. And the reason why the Lakers are the team now that you're hearing more rumblings about is because most part people thought they were out of the picture. But when they were able to get the cap space available, and Kawhi has put the Lakers on the list, and the Lakers have the most to prove in this because the information, who's running the team, there's got to be some intimate conversation with Jenny Buss. That's been expressed to me. Jenny Buss can only answer a number of the questions that Kawhi and his team have. So the research that they have to do about the Lakers, it's going to take some time. But right now, there's going to be a lot of talk about it because the first 2 days of free agency, that being Monday and Tuesday, those will be the days they will sit down with the Lakers and the Clippers. And then after that, they will reconvene, get together, see where they are, see if one of those teams is leading or if there's a favorite, and then they will go to Toronto and give Toronto a conversation about Kawhi's future.
And the incumbent team always requests to have the last conversation, to have the closing argument, if you will, and Chris is reporting that Kawhi will extend that courtesy to Toronto because they have done everything right. There are a few points the LA Times is reporting that I want the audience to know about. One is that Kawhi's group was interested in a number of things. One, LeBron has his own personal trainer, Mike Mancias, that works for the team. Will Kawhi be afforded that same opportunity? The LA Times is reporting he was told yes. They also wanted to know, did you guys actually try to trade for Kawhi a year ago? They were told yes, but the Spurs wanted everything in the world. They clearly didn't really want to do a deal with us. That's why it didn't get done. So the Lakers, according to the LA Times, answered all of Kawhi's group's questions the way they wanted to hear it. And here's what I can tell you. The Lakers clearly believe not that they have a chance at Kawhi Leonard, that they have the best chance at Kawhi Leonard, which is why
they're letting all
they have stood by the wayside as D'Angelo Russell's a Warrior, as Tobias Harris stays, as Jimmy Butler potentially goes to Miami, as Kyrie Irving goes to Brooklyn, as Chris Middleton stays, as Al Horford goes to Philly, as Malcolm Brogdon goes to Indy. The Lakers,
it's a big gamble if you don't get Kawhi.
And it is a gamble because he is the best player on the board. He is the reigning Finals MVP. And for Kawhi Leonard, it is an absolute 180 from the position he was in last year. The position Kawhi Leonard was in around this time last year was totally powerless. He did not want to be where he was. He had a couple years left on his contract. He was helpless to go to pick his destination, and he no longer trusted the San Antonio Spurs, and they literally sent him out of the country. Kawhi Leonard now has this much power. If he picks the Raptors, they become, at the very least, the favorites in the East, if not the favorites overall. And there are 9 or 10 teams that feel we can win a championship. If he picks the Clippers, they become a leading contender in the West and a contender for the championship. And there are 9 or 10 teams that believe they can win a championship. If he picks the Lakers are enormous favorites versus not any individual team, but versus the entire league. And there are 1 or 2 teams that feel they can win the title. That is the type of power Kawhi Leonard has, and he's going to take his time, evidently, making this decision.
I mean, it's no doubt the Lakers would be tremendous if Kawhi joins them, but how's this any different than what the Warriors did by just packing a bunch of superstars together, knowing they're all going to be great? I mean, how good could this team be when you have those 3 tremendous guys playing, AD, LeBron, and Kawhi?
It's totally different than Golden State. because Golden State was in a series actually with the player. Golden State already had a championship pedigree. Kevin Durant had the ability to be able to maybe end Golden State as we know him to be. But they end up losing that series. Kevin Durant decides that he's going to join them. This is not, Kawhi's already a champion. LeBron's already a champion. They have already, and Kawhi's first choice was to go to the Lakers, even if they didn't have LeBron. They would not trade him to the Lakers with San Antonio. But when he said trade me, it was to the Lakers. And then it was like, well, we might not be able to get you there. He was like, well, trade me to L.A. People get that mixed up as if he didn't want to go to the Lakers or he didn't want to go to the Clippers. When he knew he couldn't go to the Lakers, he said trade me to Los Angeles. So this would be one of the best collection of the big three that we've ever seen. To me, I think they have more talent than the big three LeBron had in Miami. And if you look at the age of the players, and now in the day of load management, to me, this would be the best three that we've ever had, and they'd be able to manage it because you wouldn't need all of them to play 70 games every year.
So it is very different from Golden State in how it would have been constructed and the history of the team. The Lakers, the worst record in the NBA over the last 6 years, as opposed to the Warriors, who had won a title and won 73 games. Where it would be similar is you would have 3 of the 10 best players in basketball.
On one team, in your starting lineup.
Right, and that for the Warriors led to back-to-back NBA championships. Where for the Lakers, this is why you do it. This is why you take the risk and you let all these guys go off the board knowing if we don't get him, we are going to be scrambling somewhat. The Lakers know that because he is that good. I would not have expected the Lakers, let's say Kawhi was off the board and D'Angelo Russell was saying, I'm going to take until Thursday. I don't think the Lakers would have said, okay, we'll just wait on you, D'Angelo Russell, even though he's one of the 8 best players available this offseason. They would say, no, we've got to get moving. But the Lakers know if they get Kawhi, then everyone who doubted them and the process gets to be wrong and they get to be right. They get to have the best player in the world, LeBron James, or if you believe the best player in the world, Kawhi Leonard, with the second best, vice versa, and the best big man in the world, Anthony Davis. It would be not just a better big three than the one in Miami. It would be the best big three ever. It would be 3, I said, of the top 10. I think 3 of the consensus 7 best players in the world in LeBron, Kawhi Leonard, and Anthony Davis. Is that good for the league? Is that what the NBA is rooting for? Those are different questions. It's clearly what the Lakers are rooting for. And all of a sudden, because, by the way, while we were off, they opened up that max cap space. Rob Pelinka showed maybe he knows a little bit more than we gave him credit for. They have the ability to make this a legitimate reality, which would be unbelievable if you consider where we were midway through the playoffs when the Lakers couldn't hire a coach. They had LeBron. They had these young players who hadn't proven themselves. To go from there to where they on the doorstep of would be unbelievable as far as that quick of a turnaround.
All right, we're going to talk a lot more about this coming up. But on the other side are the revamped Golden State Warriors, where the laughing stock of the league now boast arguably the highest stock in the league, reportedly landing 2 of the hottest free agents on the market in Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. KD will most likely sit out next season, rehabbing from his Achilles injury, but the Nets also reportedly get DeAndre Jordan as well. So good times in Brooklyn, my friends. See, I'll start with you. What was your reaction when you heard all of this go down?
Very exciting. Very exciting. And I think one of the biggest winners in all of this was Kyrie. Kyrie was in Boston, basically his own team. Decides I'm going to leave Boston, hoping he can get a better situation. Grew up rooting for the Nets. It talked about his dad. Him and his dad have a very close relationship. I'm sure his dad had some influence on it. But I just believe you get to a certain point in your career, if you can choose where you want to go to work and you can pick where you want to go to work. He likes the East Coast. He's from here. He's from Jersey. So I would have been shocked if he wouldn't have chose one of the New York teams. But in choosing the Nets were able to win out, and not just because that's where he wanted to go, but he was able to convince Kevin Durant that he can always have a sidekick over the length of his career, a sidekick in Kevin Durant that make Brooklyn one of the destinations. If you're going to watch an NBA game, and I've been very fortunate, we've been in the city last couple years, I've seen a lot of Nets basketball games. They play an exciting brand of basketball. You got to take your hat off to Sean Marks, their general managers. In those 3 years there, when they hired him, they were the laughingstock. He has done tremendous things with a lack of draft resources. He's been able to find some players, develop some other players, deciding on the coach in Atkinson.